Hello, what is going on, guys? Hockey Guy 1 here. Welcome to my review of X-Men First Class. So, X-Men First Class is directed by Matthew Vaughn and stars James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Jennifer Lawrence, January Jones, Nicholas Hoult, and Kevin Bacon. So, the story is about Sebastian Shaw, who's working with Russia to try to send out a missile in 1962, and Professor X has to form a team of X-Men for the U.S. to stop them from doing anything. So the story, I feel like it's done very well. Well, I like the way they did this origin story, and this is a really good way to write a prequel, as you do see how the team gets together and how long it took. Okay, and each act does it very well with introducing the characters in the first act. The second act with moving on to the story, and the third act is kind of the big battle. It's really well done, and a very, very well done plot structure, as well as the pacing for the plot. How it is done very well, as it does feel like it should be this long, as there's everything in there that doesn't really drag on, and it shows enough scenes. Professor X, I do think is a great character in this movie. He starts off kind of showing him as a kid, and he does develop very well in this movie as a teacher and helping out the students, and it does show good development for him and a very good characterization for how he is. Magneto, I feel like, was done the best in this movie for sure. Just how well done his character was perfect for him, and we can see why he's a protagonist, because you can see why he's against Sebastian Shaw, as he did kill his mother, and it gives him a pretty good motivation, and it's done very well for his character is, and you even get most of his actions in the climax because of how well done his character was and his development. And Professor X was done pretty well, as well as his kind of villain turn in the end. And I feel like what's really good characterization as he did is you do see why he does it, and you get exactly why he does it because of all the character development in this film. Mystique as well was a great character in this film, as she does develop as at first she just kind of stealing stuff, and then develops very well with Professor X throughout the film, and then as well as you do kind of get the turn that she gets to be with Magneto, as that's just kind of how her character works in this movie. Since her characterization, I feel like, was done very well with how and she is, as it does do pretty well. Beast was very good in this movie. I feel like this might be one of, if not his best roles character in these films, as it does kind of show how he develops to want to be a mutant and be proud about it, which I think is a really good development and characterization for him, and it's just really good how his character is done, and how he develops with the team and becoming a mutant, as well as being the brains of the team, and being able to make his power and become a beast unintentionally. Havoc is like a very fleshed out character. I mean it is very well done on how he didn't really make him overpowered. It took kind of showed his development and how it took him time to master his powers, which I think is really good character for him, and I like how they do that. Sebastian Shaw is a really good villain and very intimidating with how well his character as a villain is done. I mean, he does have a pretty good motivation, and because he does kind of want mutants to be on top of it. I feel like it was a good motivation for him, and it's just really good for this film. I do think the visual effects were really great. Right, like they used a decent amount in this film. You can tell a decent amount of budget was used on it, as they do look really good. And Havoc's powers looked really good, and whenever they used as well as Emma Frost, whenever she shapeshift, it looked really good. As well as Mystique when they shapeshift, it kind of has that one thing that's CGI, obviously. It moves around. It's really good. And the action scenes are just fantastic, especially the climax scene. It's just really great. It has a lot of stakes to it, and it really could a lot of tension. As it really could go either way. Like you don't really know what's gonna happen, and as the mutant, and it's just as it could go the other way. It's big stakes for them, especially when Magneto goes out and stops the missiles in the air. That's a really good moment in this scene. In this one, and she's just kind of saying that humans are the real enemies. So it's kind of sloth. And the cinematography is just really good. I mean, it's how the coloring in this movie is just really good for it. And as well as the camera shots, they do kind of use some 3D camera shots, but I think they work fine for what the type of shot that they're trying to do. So it looks really good, as well as there's some shots, and there's one scene where they show multiple things happening at once on one screen, which I think is a really creative way to put in cinematography, because it's really different from normal, and I do feel like it's creative and it looks good because it shows different perspectives at different camera angles at each time, so it makes the cinematography look really good. There's this one scene where there's a cameo of Wolverine, and it was really funny, and it's just a perfect timing for a joke to come in, and it's not really in a serious moment. It's in the moment. And I think it's like a perfect time to put in humor, and it's a really funny scene, and honestly, one of the best cameos in film. And the acting from James McAvoy was just really great. He feels like he's a character, and he feels like exactly like a young version of Patrick Stewart. Or I mean, even if he doesn't look like him, I do feel like the way he acts, it definitely feels like he's a young Patrick Stewart, and it's just as he acts like the character, does act like the character, and does very well in acting in some things. And the acting from Michael Fassbender as well was fantastic. Like, I mean, he feels like a young Ian McKellen, just like James McAvoy feels like a young Patrick Stewart. So that just makes it a really good casting choice, because he feels like the character, and he just does a very good job acting, and just always feels like the character and fits the emotions of each time, and it's just really good. And acting on his part. Jennifer Lawrence as well, to me, was really good in this movie. I mean, her acting is just on point. She feels like Mystique, and she does act very well like the character, and as well as the dialogue was performed really well. And fits the emotions very well, and I just think she has a good casting choice and did really good in this movie. And I think the costume designs are really good in this movie. Like I like the designs for the X-Men team's costume, as it does sort of have a comic book feel. I mean, it's not exactly the comic book costume, but I do think it has the feel of it, and it looks really good. good with how it is on screen and very well made by the designers. As well as Mystique's makeup, you can tell they put a lot of time into that because it looks really good. I mean, it doesn't look bad in any of the movies, but here I think it looks really good and even better than it did in the original 3. Because it's really well done, and you can tell that they took their time with the makeup, and it looks really good. With that said, I do have a few negatives. Like, I do feel like Emma Frost and all the other mutants that were with Sebastian and Shaw were a bit underdeveloped and not well fleshed out characters, as they do feel like just kind of side characters, as they're just basically henchmen of Sebastian Shaw, as I don't really feel like they have much character, because they really don't have much character at all besides just helping out Shaw, and it just kind of makes them feel underdeveloped. So overall, X-Men First Class moved this franchise in the right direction and was a great movie. So I'm going to give X-Men First Class a 9 out of 10. That was my review of X-Men First Class. What are your thoughts on X-Men First Class? Tell me in the comments below. I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.